Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekend Sports. It's our weekly Red Wing breakdown. Only 3 games this week. It actually was not a bad week for the Red Wings, but we still end the week outside the playoff picture.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, Larkin's return, and they look like a totally different team. I don't like that. I don't think that that's acceptable. That they played so horrid for 7 games without Dylan Larkin, who is important, but he shouldn't be so important that your team just crumbles when he's not out there.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he's back. They've really backed themselves into a corner. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I just think that losing, if they could have beaten Arizona, just Arizona for over those 2 games, both times, I think we would have a solid chance. But I just think it's rough. We have to hope that
Mm,
Washington goes into a slump and the Islanders go into a slump, and
You just keep on
we
winning.
we keep at least keeping pace. But our schedule's tough. And it's going to be rough to try to expect us to go on any win streak. And I think that's what it's going to take to get into the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I'm not so sure we're going to do that.
So throughout the week, you beat the Blue Jackets first in overtime, 4-3. That was a really good game. It didn't start out the best. You only played like the last period, really, but you ended up winning. Got your 2 points there. You got your 2 points against the Islanders, which you did need. You beat them 6-3 this week in another really good game. And even the game you lost this week, 1-0 to the Predators, was a good game. Sider even fought. That's something he doesn't usually do. And you probably could have gotten away with a point that game if you would just held on a little bit longer, but you weren't able to.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I was happy to see Sider out there. Um, got his first fight this week and stuff like that. That was great. He actually kicked the crap out of that guy or something like that.
I
That
mean, he
was
was
good to
fighting.
see, and that was good to see. Um, I think if he could add that to his game, although I don't want him fighting a ton, it's just being able to. I just look at this, like I said, Washington is a must win, right? You
Washington
would
this
say,
week. So when we look at this week, you have Capitals, the Hurricanes, and the Panthers. You're heading on a road trip, so you're going to be constantly playing on the road. But you have to probably beat Washington this week. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They're a good team right now, though they've been winning
right?
consistently.
They've been playing well,
They're on par with you, almost identical records. The only thing that's not identical is the overtime losses. You have one less win than you, 3 less losses, but 3 more OT losses. So
right?
basically a game behind you. Uh, but for the most part, 2.7 goals per game, 3 goals against per game. So they're actually averaging less goals than they get scored on, and they have a 21% power play and 79% penalty kill. But it's not going to be an easy game. We got 2 more games against the Capitals this year too. So on top of this game, you have one more against Washington in
That's
April.
why I'm saying it's going to be tough. You got to beat them. You just got to beat them both times, and you got to beat some teams that are clearly better than you. You
Yep.
got to find a way to win. Uh, like I said, you got to take at least 2 out of 3. One of those games being Washington, and either beat Carolina this week
Which they play
or
on
Florida.
Thursday or Florida on Saturday. It's like I said, it's gonna be
You got to win
full.
one of those games and the Washington game at least.
But
You got to come out. So that's 4 out of 6 points you got to
mhm.
take this week.
And Carolina's doing good. They're scoring about 3.4 goals per game, almost on par with your offense. And then 2.6 goals against per game with a 26% power play and 85% penalty kill. So
Yeah, they
Carolina
play a
ain't going to be
really
easy.
they play that dull defensive game or something,
And
and
same thing with the
they'll have 10
Panthers.
shots on goal the whole game or something.
The Panthers are averaging 3.2 goals per game and 2.4 against. Bobrovsky's playing very well this year.
Yeah, they're
26%
they're
power
they're
play,
they're incredible.
82% penalty kill. So they're not going to be easy either. And like I said, you're on a
No, I
road
mean,
trip.
you're going to be lucky to get a point out of that game. I think you have a better chance against Carolina to get a point. Florida, I mean,
You,
unless, like I said, they come up and play an A-plus game and just play out of their socks,
you
and you gotta they have to play. their best game to even have a chance
Mhm.
against Florida. And they have beaten Florida.
Yes.
So I mean, it's not impossible. But what I'm saying is, you can't if you beat if you had won against the teams like Arizona and stuff like that, you could afford to lose a couple against these better teams. You can go out and play your asses off and see what happens. But now, you put yourself in a position every
Yes.
game means something,
You
and
are
you have no cushion. And it just ticks me off. I just don't think they have it
you
enough
and
firepower. I mean, they're still getting beat. They have to do something about getting more shots on net. Try to keep the opponent to under 30 shots on net and try to get close to 30 shots on net. They're not coming close. I mean, you can't win games when you're only getting 20 shots on net for the whole game or
yeah.
less. I mean, they had 22 the other night against, and
They're averaging right now 28 shots per game, getting 32 on them. 28.5.
right. They had 22 against Nashville, and Nashville had like something like 33 or something like that. You can't have that. And they lost 1-0. That's an extra 10 shots you should have probably tried to get. Maybe one of those goes in.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, it was a great game. They played a great game against Nashville. It was fun to watch. But I just you got to get more shots on net and try to keep them to under 30,
My concern right now is that we're on the road until April 5th.
which is either good or bad. Maybe
You
it's
you
good
you are
in
not
the
going to
sense that you bring some camaraderie on the road. You're away from your home fans and the pressure of that. Maybe it's a good thing that they're on the road. They
it,
can bring
it,
them together a little bit more.
they're just going to be on this road stretch for a little bit. I know they're below 500 on the road. So your
Well,
next 4 games, well 3 games, you got to win 2 out of the 3 to keep yourself in the playoff hunt, right? You're a point down at the moment, and also Washington has a game on hand from you. You have the same amount of
I thought
games.
we had the game. Oh, we don't.
No,
Okay.
we have 71. They have 70. So Washington still has another game to technically get points. You have played the same amount of games on the Islanders, and you're 3 points up on them. You have played one less game than the Devils,
Right.
Buffalo, and the only team that's sitting down there that you can kind of have a concern about, but they're a game back, is Pittsburgh. Um, but they are 8 points out from you, 9 points from a playoff spot. So I think right now in these last few weeks, the playoff hunt is mostly between Washington, Detroit, New York, and somewhat New Jersey. Buffalo can make it interesting if they're going to be winning games and kind of putting themselves in that position too. But that's up to how well Buffalo plays because they're not technically out of it. But I don't know how much they're in it, being a few games back with only 13 to 12 games left in the season.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting playoff race for the month of April, and they're making it interesting. They went on their bad stretch. They seem like they're turning it around. Hopefully, they can keep on doing that, and in turn, kind of face that pressure of being in that final wild card spot because you ain't catching up to Tampa now. They're at 85 points, uh, and you're likely going to end up facing. I'm going to say it's probably going to be the Rangers. If not, you're going to be end up facing Florida or Boston, depending on who wins our division. Florida and Boston are currently tied at the top. So it's going to be a full on.
You're right. I mean, let's make the playoffs. If we do that, I'll be happy. We're going to probably get swept in the first round. I can't see us competing against any of these teams. Um,
I could see Boston. We played well against Boston
yeah,
this
I
whole
mean,
year.
like I said, in order for the Wings to compete and to beat those kinds of teams, they have to bring it. I mean, all of it. They can't. They have. There's no room for error. I mean, you got to come in there and play your best
Yep.
against those teams to win. It's just, do they have that in them night in, night out? Um, I don't know. That's hard to do. It's hard to do that over the stretch, but they put themselves in that position. Um, and if they don't make the playoffs, it is. It's kind of a disappointing season.
Only, well, so till the end of the year, you're only facing one team that is either 500 or, well, 2 teams that are either 500 or below. because right now the Sabres are above 500. They're 34,
Well,
33, and 5.
they're
The
fighting for it too.
the Penguins are 500, 30, 30, and 10. And then you face the Canadians back to back at the end of the year, and the Canadians are 26, 32, and 12. So you have your opportunities. You're not going to win. Obviously, you're not going to win your last 13.
Well, and we can't
But
even look at that. I mean, we looked at that with Arizona. We're going, oh, that's a win. That's going to be a win. We should beat them even without Larkin. They kicked the crap out of us. They kicked the crap out of us, and that is what is so. And when we look, when we don't make the playoffs, if that's what how I see it, that's what we're going to look back on. Is that 7 game stretch where you lost to Arizona twice? You had no business doing that.
yeah.
And I think there was a couple other crappy teams you lost to in that span.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what we're going to look at
Yeah.
because you can't. They had one bad stretch back in December, and then that bad stretch. You
Okay.
can't do that and expect to make the playoffs. We said that at the beginning of the year. That's what they had to eliminate was long losing streaks, and
Mm-hmm.
they had 2 this year. So
I mean, it's going to make things interesting to end the year. But with all that being said, let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know. Comment, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Until next time, hope to see everybody.